Evolution of living organisms.
Darwin. That is Darwin. Yeah, I think. There are so many philosophers, but these are the primary: Aristotle, Plato, Socrates. So these are the primary philosophers. So basically, Aristotle said there are 4 different roles that a thing can play in this world. Okay, one is the material cause, right? What is it made out of? The brick is made out of mud. It is put in the kiln, right? Even to say the syllable ba, you need a B and a, right? So those are called material causes. Second cause is formal cause. What is it? So when you add these things together, it becomes something. So what is it? That is the second cause, called the formal cause. The third cause is called efficient cause. So what does change or motion come from? So what is happening to it? Right? First one is what is its constituent parts. Second is what is it? What has it become? Third is what does it move, or where does the movement come from in that object? And final cause is what is its purpose? What is it good for? What is it used for? Right? 4 different causes. So about 550, close to 600 years ago, there was a renaissance in medieval Europe. You have Aristotle. No, actually, these people are even before that. Renaissance came much later. So when these people came, that is the start of the Western thought. Prior to that, there was no Western thought. Eat, drink, and be merry. That was the Western thought. So these philosophers came and they started giving the concept of what is it? Like, what is this world? Right? What do we do with it? What is the end result? What is the goal? None of that existed previously. So Aristotle's causes are material causes, matter. Formal causes, form. How does matter take a form or a shape? Efficient cause is the mover. In thermodynamics, you have the concept called prime mover, right? First movement, prime movement. And then final cause is the end of the movement. What is happening to the actual result, movement? So this is all from Western philosophy. Then we'll come to Eastern philosophy. This is not Pluto, this is actually Plato. There's a typo there. So 428 BC, before Common Era. Right now we are in 2023 after Common Era, right? It used to be called before Christ, after Christ, but due to its religious connotation, people said, let's start using Common Era, CE. Previously it was BC, then it became BCE. So he was born in 428 BCE and he passed away 348 because numbers go opposite direction till 0.0 and from there 2020. According to Plato, a good life involves living in harmony with one's inner nature. So we all have something called an inner nature. Externally, what we behave is what the society wants us to behave. Society says, okay, this is what you should do. When you wake up, you should say good morning. When you're sleeping, say good night. You have to take bath, shave, go to office. All these are societal norms. But there is some inner nature. So a good life involves living in harmony with one inner nature and understanding of the true nature of reality. Prior to these Western philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, people didn't have any concept. Just they go catch a fish, eat it, or go hunting, fight with some animal, kill it, eat it. Only in the eating platform, right? In the very, very elementary platform. Slowly, all these other things came much later. So, according to Plato, he says to do this, one must overcome negative emotions such as anger and greed. Because lust, greed, anger, we discussed this 4 or 5 weeks ago. They are the 3 gateways to hell. So, with lust, greed, and anger, what happens? Your ability to think and rationalize goes away. You cannot think. But for a long time, people in the Western societies had just the concept of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So Plato came and said, we have to change that. We have to embrace truth and knowledge. In the book called Srimad Bhagavatam, the very first verse says Satyam Param Dhimahi. Satyam, truth. Param means the absolute truth. Param Satyam. So Plato is also saying something similar from a Western perspective. Then Socrates, who is a peer of Plato. Actually, when was Plato born? Look at the timeline. 428. Socrates was born 469. But it turns out that Plato learns from Socrates. Socrates is his guru, quote unquote guru. So according to Socrates, the key to happiness is to turn attention away from the body and towards the soul. So in the Western philosophy, the concept of soul came when? Due to Socrates. Even today is considered the greatest in the Western sciences. So he says, by harmonizing our desires, we can learn to pacify the mind. So what is the yoga that we did? We twisted right, we twisted left, then we did some breathing. All of this is to do what? Body health is good, but ultimately the mind becomes pacified. Right? To cool down, calm down the mind. There is other way of calming the mind. What is that? Man trayata iti mantra. Trayata means disciplining, controlling, calming. Man trayata iti mantra. Mantra calms down the mind. So then he says a moral life is to be preferred to an immoral one, because people were pretty much like animals, eating, drinking, mating, sleeping. So there was no humanistic concept there. So he tried to make them first into humans. So we see right here at the beginning of Western philosophy that happiness is at the forefront, linked to other concepts such as virtue, justice, right? Like if I take something from someone, I have to return it back. It's not like I keep on taking from someone. Otherwise, there is some kind of a court which administers justice. All these concepts started coming in the Western society. And the ultimate meaning of human existence. So this is Socrates. So we talked about Aristotle, Plato, and Socrates. Now, Bhagavad Gita came when? 3000 BC, 5000 years. Actually, 3050 BC, but rounded up to 3000. So, what does Bhagavad Gita talk about? Something different. So, there are 5 factors of action. To do anything, you have 5 factors. First is the place of action, the body, right? So, what does that mean? To perform action, where do you perform action out of? The soul cannot perform action. This carpet cannot perform action. You need a body, primarily the human body, right? I mean, animals also perform action, but their actions do not incur reaction or karma, right? We talked about it almost a month ago, briefly. So, adhisthana, a place where we perform action. The second is the performer. So your body is not the performer. Body is just like in a robot. You have metal arms, plastic fingers, rubberized tips, various kinds of polymers, all kinds of things are there in a robot. But without the CPU and the program, you cannot move the robot forward. Right? Have you seen that? Do you have these cleaning robots in university where they switch a button and it keeps on going and within no time it's clean, which is a very efficient invention, right? So there is the material cause, there's the formal cause, there is the efficient cause, and finally, what is the last cause? The final cause. These are the 4 causes that the entire Western system is based on, right? So the performer is different than the body. It is not the body. So the performer is the soul, Atma. And souls? Do animals have souls?
Yes.
How do you know? Every living being has souls. So by logical induction, you are saying, since human beings have souls, therefore animals must also have souls. That's called logical induction. So the souls go through a particular process of evolution. So this is different than Darwinian evolution. Darwinian evolution talks about monkey becoming man. But the Vedic evolution talks about there is a soul in monkey's body, there is a soul in animal's body, there is a soul in dog's body, there is a soul in cat's body. Every body has a soul. So where is the concept of evolution then in the Vedic system?
Action.
No. What when we say evolve, it means you are becoming something better, or you're going in a certain direction. Evolution of consciousness, that's one answer. What else? Evolve means you're going from a lower bodily form to a higher bodily form. So there may be a soul in the body of a cockroach. When it dies, it goes next into maybe a soul of a mongoose. And then when that dies, maybe it will go into the soul of a monkey. When that dies, maybe it will go into the soul of a cow or something like that. And when the cow dies, maybe it will go into the soul of a human. So there is the evolution of the soul. So one of the factors of action is the performer. Who is it and what they are doing, right? So we are all performers, are we not? We are performing something using this body, right? If I don't have a body, like I'm not like Vishnu with 4 hands. I have only 2 hands. So I can only do 2 things. Sometimes in multitasking in internet, they put the picture of one person with 2 additional hands, right? He's doing computing here and he's playing music and he's putting something like multiple hands. But that's not true. That's just fiction. And then the third factor of action is we have senses, right? Everybody has senses. If you don't have senses, you cannot even function, right? You see the blind people, how much limited they are. Or you see the deaf people, how limited they are, right? But they can do certain things. I mean, if you're deaf, you can still do computer programming, but they cannot enjoy music or something like that. Oh, you're already asking us to leave.
Make sure.
So these senses of hearing, smell, taste, touch, and vision is a huge topic in Vedic literature. What are these senses? How do they work? What is the interaction between the senses? Right? There's so much more to these senses. Even you will only realize the value of a sense when you don't have it. Right? When you're sick, your tongue doesn't have taste. Then you say, "Arey, last week I was enjoying this rasgulla so much, but now I put rasgulla in the mouth, it doesn't even taste anything." So life feels very dull, even if one sense doesn't function. Right? So that is one other factor of action. And the other factor of action is many different kinds of endeavor. What does endeavor mean? The word endeavor.
Lot of effort.
Hmm?
Lot of effort.
Effort. What else? Actually, endeavor is a desire. You want to do something, right? Stephen Covey says we do everything twice. You know who Stephen Covey is?
Right.
7 Habits of Highly Successful People, right? This is the book he wrote. He says everything happens twice. When does it happen?
One in mind, one in action.
One in mind. First, it happens in the mind. Before you watch a movie, what do you do first?
Plan.
Oh, I want to watch this movie. New movie has come. Madhuri Dixit. At least when I was growing up, Madhuri Dixit was a heroine. Now I don't know who the heroine is. I don't care to watch much movies nowadays. First it happens in the mind, and then you pull out the wallet, buy a ticket, go into the movie theater, and watch them. So you're doing it twice. Actually, the most intelligent people, you know what they do? They just do it in the mind. Then there's no need to pull out the wallet, no need to spend the money. Like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, all these people are theorizing in the mind. It's not like they had any lesser quality of life than us. Now we are doing everything. There's an app for everything. App to go to the bathroom even. Right? It'll remind you, king, king, go to the bathroom. App for everything. But all these things came in the last 30 years. Do you mean to say for millions of years people were fools? They had a good life too, right? So the most intelligent person will do things in their mind. Even more intelligent people, what do?
They don't do even in mind.
They control the mind too. They say, oh, why am I wasting energy by thinking through all these things? Let's stop, right? And they start looking inside. That is yoga, right? The whole process of yoga is to look inside yourself. So there are different kinds of endeavors. This guy is like an IT guy. He's driving a excavator. He's doing some mining work. There are some emergency room workers. There's so many kinds of endeavors. Like your teacher was saying, 4% increase in economy and 336,000 new jobs created. So much endeavor going on, right? To what effect? Why does government want us to do endeavor? Taxes, that's it. Who said that? He said that, very nice. It's not like government is your friend or anything. First, they import us from a foreign country, make us study nicely. Then we get a job. Who benefits? Who is the biggest beneficiary? How many taxes do you pay? Income tax, sales tax, toll tax, property tax, list goes on and on. May 1st is called the Freedom Day. You know why? First 4 months, every American works for the government. From May 1st to December, they work for themselves. So you add up all the taxes, the percentage is, the first 4 months goes, one third goes to the government. First 4 months, we are working very hard to pay the government. Now, Indians also became very smart. They copied the American system. Taxes have gone up through the roof. When I was working, we hardly paid like 5 or 6% tax. Now, Indians are also paying a lot, 33%, right? It's pretty high now. So, America leads and every other country copies, and then they destroy themselves. So, there are different kinds of endeavor, but endeavor is required. But how much endeavor we do and in what direction we do is very, very important. Otherwise, we can go crazy doing that. And the 5th factor of action is the super soul. What is the Sanskrit term for super soul? Paramatma. You see, all those gentlemen have super soul in them. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, the size of super soul is the size of your thumb. This is how tall the super soul is. He's sitting right next to the soul. Jivatma, Paramatma. He's sitting there, right there. And he is doing what?
Observing.
You're all computer scientists, right? There is a discipline called observability. There are various software packages, Splunk, Dynatrace, Instana. Azure monitoring. I work with them, that's how I know. There are many, many softwares to observe IT systems. They instrument various sections, and something goes wrong, they say it's on section 3, broken. Go and fix it. Previously, people had to just look at everything to figure out. But now, because of this observability, you can go to a specific section and troubleshoot the problem much faster. If you work in help desk, you'll use these tools a lot. So the super soul is observing what we are doing on a daily basis. Why is he observing? Doesn't he have anything better to do? You can think of it. So the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, Arjun, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. So we are roaming in this world as if we are on a Universal Studio ride. Like, you know, these things, Disneyland, Universal Studio, very expensive, $130 per day. You go there and you jump from ride to ride, waste your money, and then you come home with a body ache. But anyway, people do it. So there is this material energy, which is the vehicle, and we are all sitting in that material energy vehicle, and we are getting thrown here, thrown there. Whether you like it or not, certain things are happening. So the Supreme Lord is the super cause. Under these circumstances, he who is acting in Krishna consciousness, which means under the direction of God, not in our own fancy whim. Normally, 99% of the time, we are working according to our interest. But if we work in that direction, then whatever we do is essentially done by him. Like one person went in one of the state parks. There was a little boy who went to bathroom. He caught hold of the little boy and killed him. And then there was this court case. They asked him, why did you kill this person? He said, God asked me to do it. Is that true? No. So sometimes we think what we are imagining to be true, and this fellow was imagining God asked him to do it, but he's not purified enough to make those decisions. So what are the 5 factors of action? You know who that girl is on the top right hand? Oh, you all know, watch movies then. Second is, third is senses. Fourth is endeavor, activity, or the desire to do activity which results in activity. Remember, everything is done twice. Intelligent person does it only once. Super intelligent people don't do it. They become yogis. They just look inwards. Raghavendra Swami, right? Meditate on the Supreme Lord. That's it. Key learning. So can somebody read that?
Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Right work is right work done in terms of the prescribed directions in the scriptures, and wrong work is work done against the principles of the scriptural injunctions.
So what does it mean?
There are 2 types of work, good and bad.
So what is right work?
Right work which is aligned with scriptures.
Okay, so what are the scriptures?
I think the right work is which is done in the Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, Krishna consciousness is a little bit more advanced, but at least to do action according to scriptural knowledge. What are scriptures? We talked about this a few weeks ago. That's the name, but what are they? No. I understand. You are giving me the title, but What is the function of Vedas? What are they giving us?
Instructions.
Instructions. Okay.
Instructions to reach God.
It's not only to reach God. Like Rig Veda has how to sing, how to play the veena, how to play the sitar. All these things are there in the Vedas. Why? It is to live. Right? Vedas are guidebooks to live. About 4% of the Vedas focuses on that aspect of spirituality and how to attain moksha and things like that. But 96% is actually how to live. You have to live, right? On a day-to-day basis. But when is the last time you read the Veda to figure out what to do? Most people don't do that. Actually, surprisingly, I've seen Muslims are the people who follow their scriptures closely than anybody else. They're always quoting, right? Like one Muslim was coming out of the bathroom in the office, he took some water and sprinkled on his feet, as mentioned in his scripture. Surprisingly, they follow, even today.
They follow basic things, not the major things.
And they follow certain things so dangerously that causing chaos, which we don't want to get into right now. That's a different conversation altogether. So who is the supreme efficient cause? Remember, we talked about the efficient cause. In the 4 factors that Aristotle laid out, what are the 4 factors? Basic cause? No, material cause? Formal cause?
Efficient cause.
Efficient cause? Final cause. So what is he missing?
Cause of
Detail about the final cause, right? So that is what Srila Prabhupada talks about in his books. Although the material causes are the place, the worker, the endeavor and senses, the final cause is the supreme, right? If you look at scriptural analysis, you have this Pancha Mahabhutas as you were mentioning, right? Then you have 5 external senses, 5 internal senses. If you add all these things from a material perspective, you come to 25 different things. Most people only focus on the 25, but they forget the 26. What is that 26? The super soul. They don't mention about that. So without the 26, these 25 things are not acting automatically. What are the 25? 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas. Karmendriya means you have to go to the bathroom, right? You have to eat, mouth. You have to go to the bathroom. You have to go to toilet, I mean basically urinals and others. So those are also Karmendriyas. Hands, legs, those are Karmendriyas. Jnanendriyas are from which you get Gyan, eyes, ears, nostrils, tongue. Mouth is Karmendriya, tongue is Jnanendriya. So 5 plus 5, 10. Pancha Mahabhutas, 15. In this way, if you keep adding all the things that we deal with, it comes to 25. So 26 is the super soul, which most people conveniently forget and ignore. Actually, none of the religions really talk about the super soul. Christianity doesn't, Islam doesn't, Buddhism doesn't. They're very intelligently avoid this super soul. Right? If you look at Islam, they talk about Allah, formless Allah. It doesn't have a form. How convenient. You have a form, but God doesn't have a form. Very intelligent. Huh? So, essentially, if I say this loudly, there'll be jihad, but essentially, everybody's practicing atheism. Isn't it true? Like, now we have this big battle between Israel and Gaza Strip. Both of them follow Abrahamic religion. But both of them have such different conception of who God is that they're willing to kill each other again and again and again. This is not happening now. I mean, since my childhood, I've been seeing this. But even before my childhood, this has been happening for how long? For at least 5,000, 6,000 years, right? It's been happening. Why? Because the conception is wrong itself. So when you start, if you say 2 plus 2 is equal to 3, and from there you do linear algebra, then you do fourth order differential equations, quantum mechanics. But if the original calculation 2 plus 2 is equal to 3, then your final answer, will it be correct? It will be wrong, right? So if your first premise is wrong, then everything else is wrong. So you have to be always focus on the basics first. People talk about advanced philosophy, right? Especially Hindus, everybody will give you a lecture, right? Even taxi wala will give you a lecture on Bhagavad Gita, but their fundamental conception may not be correct. So if your first conception is wrong, everything else will be wrong, right? So therefore, one should not only see not only the four material causes, but the supreme efficient cause. So this is where the bulk of the world is in problem. So we have to focus on what the supreme efficient cause is to understand action. Even for me to lift my hand like this, there is a supreme efficient cause. Right? Even to just lift my hand. Even to talk, there is a supreme efficient cause. It is all happening. So one who does not see the supreme thinks himself to be the doer. So we think we are the doers. I am doing it. I am doing master's degree in UNT. I am doing interview. I am getting job. So for that, there is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Karta aham. I am doing. I. And especially in the Western world, this I is reinforced very much. Right? Everybody has their phones, their apps, their own videos on YouTube. So we are reinforcing the concept of I. Highly individualistic society. Still, countries like Japan, India are group cultures. America is extremely efficient. Individualistic culture. So try raising kids in America, because I've raised 2 kids. It is Mission Impossible Part 4. You're all not married. So this is the lucky phase and happy phase in your life. You get married, have kids, then you will see. Ab shuru hoga maza. Why? Because of this individualistic culture. You come from a collectivistic culture where respect for elders, group think is valued. And here is the individual thing that is valued. But this disease has now come to India too. Because YouTube is only a click away. Instagram is a click away. Twitter is a click away. So India and America are exactly the same right now. Same second, anybody can get information. And the same kartaham iti manyate. I am doing it. Right? I is reinforced. So the bewildered soul, under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature, thinks himself or herself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. So some women saw this verse and say, your religion is anti-feminist. Why? Because he says himself. I'm not joking. This has happened many times. Him here means the soul. Soul is neither male nor female. And how many genders are there right now? L, B, G, T, Q, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, X, Y, Z, like that, right? So many flavors of all this is created by media. Previously, even when Adam and Eve from the Bible were there were only 2 genders. What did Bible say? Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, right? For example. So all these things, like I was listening to Christian radio yesterday, and they were saying this is by design to increase materialism. Now you can sell more products targeted to these. Like the moment you start thinking along those lines, right? Now you have a new breed of products. There's only so much you can sell to man and woman. But if you have all these other things, right, you can sell so many things. It's materialism, end of the day. The material cause. Transforming matter. Right? So you should understand. Feminism is also not that people are promoting. It is promoted by materialists, in order to grow the economy. In Atlanta, I was driving, it said the board was there. This was many years ago, 20 years ago. Uncontested divorce, $199. $199, you can divorce your wife or husband. So they made it so easy. Revenue. It's all about revenue. And they said divorce is good for American economy. You know why?
Focus.
Focus is there, man. People will work harder, but what else?
Number of households increase.
Yeah, number of apartments, 2 instead of 1. 2 cars instead of 1. Everything is multiplied by 2. So it increases American economy. They don't care what you are or what you will become. They don't care. And if you go crazy, very good. Psychiatrist. One visit, $350. Right? And if somebody commits suicide, what happens? Their money goes to the state. So it's a trap. It's a materialistic trap, actually. We are thinking, aha, land of opportunity. I go to America, buy Toyota Camry, take a picture next to it, selfie. Kichik. Mommy, I bought Toyota Camry. And you send that text back home, WhatsApp. But it's a trap, actually. You're a part of the system. It's just like, that's a different topic altogether. So we are just going along for the ride created by material nature. Remember in the previous verse we said it's a machine? Where did I say that? Directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. So don't think there were no machines at the time of Lord's giving this knowledge. Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. He says this is not machine made out of steel and iron and aluminum. What is this made out of? Maya. This machine is made out of Maya. So we are all swimming in this machine made out of Maya. Right? So we are going along for the ride. Sometimes you are, yay, enjoy. Sometimes, I lost my job. What is happening? Essentially, you are running on this machine made out of Maya. The soul has no business with this material world, but we are somehow sucked into this hyper-materialistic world called United States of America. And now same thing with India also. Bharat is only like few seconds behind United States. It is a latency factor. How long does the signal take to reach India from a server in Atlanta? That's how behind India is, only a few seconds. Okay? So it's not like, oh, Mera Bharat Mahan, Tumhara Pakistan Beiman. It's not like that. That Mahan is going away now. Right? So Chaitya Guru, Krishna himself comes as this Guru, right? The soul is there in every living entity. And the super soul also, just like distributed processing, right? So in this computer science, there's a concept called containerization. So you create some binaries, you create some basic activities in a container, and millions of containers can be provisioned every day and destroyed every day, right? Started by Google called Kubernetes. So Google generates like a few million containers every day and kills them by end of the day. So that is efficient for processing. Why? Because if you have a dedicated server or a VM, you're spending money, whereas container can be spawned, killed, and it's very suited for serverless architecture on AWS and Azure. So Bhagavan is also like that. He distributes himself in millions of living entities. People will say, oh, how can God distribute? Why not? When you can do Kubernetes, why can't Bhagavan not do the same thing? He can distribute himself too. And he does that in each one of us, right? So it is not like you are so smart that you can create something that God has not already created. See the point? Oh, I am so smart. I invented this new Istio fabric. You know what Istio fabric is? Data fabric. Anyway, go and check it out. Do a research on Google. So these are all like various computing technologies. But all these things were already invented by him, right? He's already distributed in each one of us as Paramatma. So somebody read that, please.
Krishna is advising from the start. So Krishna is advising that I am in everyone's heart. You can take advice from Krishna. Krishna is ready. Krishna's another name is Chaitya Guru. Chaitya Guru means the Guru who is situated within your heart. Krishna comes out as instructor Guru or initiator Guru outside, and he is sitting within the heart of as a Chaitya Guru. Krishna is ready to help us, every one of us, in two ways: by the external Guru and internal Guru. Internal Guru, he is Krishna himself, and external Guru, his manifestation, the spiritual master. So we should take advantage of two Gurus and make our life successful. Chaitya Guru means the Guru who is sitting within your heart. Chaitya Guru, he speaks to everyone, but only the devotee can hear.
So how many types of gurus?
Two types.
What are they?
Chaitya Guru.
Mm-hmm.
Chaitya Guru and spiritual master.
Okay, that's the answer. Internal and external. What is the name of the internal?
Chaitya Guru.
And who is the external guru?
Spiritual master.
Spiritual master. The guru who comes and gives you instructions and takes a danda and beats you if you don't follow also. Along with the instruction comes the potency and unwritten laws. If you don't follow it, you will be penalized too, right? But only the devotee. So unless you turn your attention to Krishna, he will not care. You are up to your karma, like they say, right? Vadi karma. What do they say, Vadi? Vadi karma. Like, what does it mean? Okay, now you cannot fix him. That's it. Just leave him alone. Only when somebody turns their attention to Krishna, then Krishna takes interest. And then the Chaitya Guru will start speaking to you and give you directions on how to improve your life. Improve your life is not buying one more car. That's what America makes you think. Like one of my colleagues, when I was going to college a long time ago, I went to college in this country 94 to 97, 3 years. Got a couple of masters. He was saying we need to have at least 4 vehicles. One is a 4x4, one is a sedan, one is a minivan, and one is a sports car. Minivan is for the kids and the mom. Sports car is for him to show off. Sedan is to go to office. 4x4 is when you go to mountains and forests, which is true. At one point, I also had 4 cars. I got rid of 2. Because that is how the economy will, or the government wants you to think. Why? In addition to the taxes that we just talked about, there is something called automobile insurance and automobile tax also. So every moment of your life, you are living to run the system. This is the yantra rudhani mayaya. They're keeping you in the loop, never letting you escape. Right? So what that you have to realize. I'm not saying don't do jobs, but you have to realize how is this thing functioning? How is this world functioning? It's not in your interest. It is in somebody else's interest. When why do governments need that power? Because they like it. Now America is giving 100 billion to Israel and Ukraine to show off. We are the world's leading superpower. You've seen the newspaper? They're giving 100 billion to these countries. So where is it coming from? Taxes. You are not paying taxes yet, but Sri Chaitanya, Lalita, and I am paying taxes.
They have to return it eventually.
Have you ever seen returning that?
Ukraine has to buy goods from America only, weapons from America. That is how it comes back.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I went to Reti on interview one time. I tried to walk 1-2 feet to the right. They said, no, you cannot walk there. There was like a display of a missile along the wall. They won't even. And then I went to bathroom. One person was accompanying me there. So as I closed the bathroom stall door, he was standing outside. That is the level of security. Each missile is sold for $1 million. One missile which is the size of that yoga mat, is $1 million. Very precision, right? It's got sophisticated computers, ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits. It's got sensors, heat sensor and sound sensor and wavelength sensor. And when you release it from a F-16, it blows up the place with great precision, right? So we are providing that kind of missiles to Ukraine with some hope that they will buy our products later on. That's what we did, right? We went into Afghanistan, and then rebuilding Afghanistan was also a contracts that we received. So Upadrishta Anumantacha. Upadrishta means observing. So there are two functions of Paramatma. One is Upadrishta, observing. Anumantacha means permitting. Okay, so maybe you can read, please. Upadrishta.
Upadrishta means simply observing what we are doing and what we are desiring. So as we desire, Krishna is very kind, gives us facility. Therefore, we have got varieties of bodies to enjoy this material world. So when Krishna sees that a living entity is very anxious to understand him or to revive his Krishna consciousness, then Krishna gives him all opportunity, especially by manifesting himself as the spiritual master, Antarbihi. From within he is helping, therefore he is called the Chaitya Guru. And from without, he sends his representative to help how to become advanced in Krishna consciousness. The spiritual master is therefore Krishna's manifestation, Krishna's mercy manifestation to help a person develop his Krishna consciousness. Chaitya Guru means who gives conscience and knowledge from within.
Very good. So can anybody, maybe you can explain what the meaning is?
So firstly, we have to observe the things which we are going to desire, and then realize what we do to get those, to attain those goals.
Okay. Anybody else from the back? The second bullet point has got a very good point.
Within ourselves, he's helping as Chaitya Guru. Without, he's helping as spiritual master.
Yes. So the spiritual master or a blood and flesh guru, when he's also having a body like us, he will give instructions and correct you if necessary. You see the point? The internal guru is not going to take a danda and beat you if you make a mistake. But the external guru can actually say that, hey, what's going on, man? I asked you to do X and you're doing Y. Are you serious or not? He will actually discipline you. Right?
He will lead by example.
He will, of course. Acharya means somebody who first does it and leads by example. So Guru has some responsibilities that he should be well versed in scriptures. He should lead by example. And the Shishya has some responsibilities that he should follow the advice. And if you are struggling, you should seek guidance and help. So both parties have responsibilities. It's not like I can do whatever I want to do as Guru and I can do whatever I want to do as disciple. No, you have your responsibilities. Okay, so summary. What did we discuss today? To do anything, how many factors are there?
5 factors.
What are those?
Place of action, body.
Body, soul,
Soul is the performer, okay, and then endeavor, 3,
senses,
senses, 4.
super.
Another name for super soul in plain English is Paramatma, and then he is the dash cause. What is dash?
Final.
Final, but what specifically?
Supreme cause.
Supreme efficient cause. Supreme efficient cause. That was your class. Any questions?
How do you manage that with spirituality and technologies? You have so much grip over these things. Personally, when I go into these spiritual things, I feel like leaving the materialistic things, not focusing on the studies.
This is a very common dilemma. There was a period when you could do that. You can run away to Himalayas and do it. But if you go to Himalayas right now, there are cell phones, there are Tata trucks, they'll be like on the roads. Because I went to Himalayas and yogis are there and we are also there with our phones and cameras and big oil guzzling trucks. So that time is fast where you can run away. So you have to be here and focus internally. So you be here in Dallas area, but chant Hare Krishna. Right? You be here and read the scriptures. You be here and develop internal detachment. External detachment, there was a time and place for it. Satya Yuga. External detachment was possible, but we are in which Yuga right now? Kali Yuga. Kaler dosher nidhe rajan. Kali Yuga is full of dosha, faults. Kirtanevasya Krishnasya. Mukta Sangha Param Braje. So when you sing Kirtan of Krishna, those faults can be suppressed, not totally eliminated. They can be suppressed. When you stop doing Kirtan, they'll again come back. I've experienced this in my own life. If I don't chant properly for a couple of days, again, all nasty thoughts come to my mind. Again, I chant, they go away. It's like swimming upstream. If you stop swimming upstream, what will happen? You'll go downstream. So you have to keep on swimming, at least at the pace of the water or slightly higher pace so that you can actually go up. If you're doing at the pace of water, you're in equilibrium. If you're doing slower, you'll go downstream actually. And then you'll end up in Bay of Bengal or whatever the bay here is. There's no ocean here. So Pacific Ocean, what are the bays? San Francisco Bay or something like that. So yeah, the days have passed where you can run off to a forest. Because if you go to a forest, somebody's playing a radio, somebody has YouTube, somebody has musical instruments, somebody's doing barbecue, so there's no more forest left. So you have to live in the forest called Denton and chant Hare Krishna and follow the principles. Principles are there, right? You know, eating meat is very bad for yoga. It slows you down. So first thing I did was to give up eating meat, right? And then progress happened. Drinking alcohol is bad for yoga, so you have to give up that. Watching television is extra bad for yoga because that will induce you to drink and eat meat and to do, hanky-panky stuff.
Another thing, I just have a point. So remember when the war of Mahabharata started, Arjuna was very bewildered. And when he saw all his cousins, his grandfather, his guru, he did not feel good about it and he did not want to fight. He in fact suggested to Krishna that I want to go and meditate. And then Krishna just gave him the right knowledge, right? He said that you're a Kshatriya. So some things are good at some points in life. Right now you're a student. Your dharma and your karma is to finish your studies, do your duty. But what we can do is we can elevate ourselves every day in our life by thinking, by first of all getting the right knowledge, as Prabhu said, read your scripture. So that because that's the instruction you get. Then when you do the karma, you do it for the pleasure of the Lord. My speaking is for the pleasure of the Lord. My studying is for the pleasure of the Lord. how can I use my everyday activities to please him, or the long-term goal is to please him. So I'm getting my things together and reaching that level so that I use things for his glory, right? So whether you become a computer science engineer, whatever you become, technology, how can I use technology? So we are making a very beautiful use of technology. We are giving you the right knowledge. We are looking at the shlokas. So figure out constructively how you can use those things and be in that line. And then, of course, as Prabhu explained, internal attachment. So this is the time when you develop these things.
So I know one of my friend, he used to work in Microsoft when I used to work there. Now he is a CIO of a AI company in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. He probably earns $600,000 a year. But every year he spends $175,000. He gives it to his guru, who preaches in Poland, conducting large festivals. Right? So it requires a lot of money to conduct large festivals, to preach, to teach people about Krishna, or teach people about themselves, first of all. Self-realization is required before you can think about God realization. God realization is not so cheap. Prabhupada used to say it's not so cheap. So you have to first think about, oh, I'm not the body, aham brahmasmi, I'm a spirit soul. Then come to that platform. And yeah, if you want to become a big shot in technology, become that. But then use your wealth to propagate this knowledge. First, you have to cure yourself. Like physician, heal thyself, Prabhupada used to say. Right? If you go to a doctor and the doctor himself has leprosy and is coughing, then you will run away from that hospital, right? The doctor should look nice and healthy. So you say, I want to be healthy like him. So first we have to fix Janma Sarthaka Karo. Karo Paropakar. First you have to fix yourself. We have to all fix ourselves. And then we do Paropakar to others. So yeah, you can do a lot while you are here. Starts by chanting the mantra, participating in Kirtan. Tomorrow evening I'll go to a store called Swadeshi in Frisco, Texas. And in front of that, we'll sing Hare Krishna. A lot of your colleagues come here. A lot of people ask, oh, we are studying. Where do you study UNT? Invariably, they're all UNT students. Not one or two, about 20 or 30 people I see every Saturday. But they don't come to this class for whatever reason.
Maybe you can tell them that we have this yoga group.
Yeah. Can you create a QR code for this class? Can you create a QR code for this class and email it to me about the location, the timings, the room number, so that I can just show them the code on my phone, right? Instead of me, like a broken record, telling the same thing again. I just show them the QR code, they scan it, and then they have the info. Yeah, can you create that one? Create that and send it to Sri Chaitanya, to his email, and then he'll forward it to me. Because it's a good idea. But you have to see, this is the use of technology in the service of Krishna, like that. I mean, to build this room, how many people did it take? The air conditioning, the LED lights. At least 1,000 people have worked in the supply chain to make a beautiful room like this for us to sit and talk about this process of connecting with the Supreme, right? So they will also get benefit. If you use this facility properly, they will get the benefit. The QR code inventor will get the benefit if you use a QR code for that purpose. So that's how we should think. Engage, it's called dovetailing. Dovetail, like in the olden days, you used to have this door, right? This is like a flat door, but in the olden days, you used to have one wooden piece here, one wood here, and then in the middle, separate wooden piece. You remember that? This corner is called a dovetail. So whatever you do, you dovetail in Krishna's service or purpose. You cannot change your life. I mean, how can you change your life? You are stuck in Denton. You are stuck with college loans. How are you going to get out? No way. We are all in this jail. But while we are in this jail, we have to figure out how to make the best use of a bad bargain. Some or the other, फंस गए यहाँ पे, ठीक है? Now you have to get out. So that's how you have to think. Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions, comments? How about you? Nothing?
If anybody wants to share anything,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, you should share your own thoughts, right? I mean, it's not like one-way traffic. I'm only sharing everything that I shared is my realization, my journey through this process. But you may have other experiences. Every one of us has a boatload of experiences in our life, right? So many things that we have seen and experienced and understood something from it, lessons learned.
So when we feel like our bodies in everybody, when we kind of do everything, we kind of do work towards everyone, right? So sometimes I experience like when we think of others first, or more others, you hurt yourself.
Hurt yourself?
Yeah, like you.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It may feel like that, but if you think of others' welfare, evil will not touch you actually. It will not. Temporarily it may, but
Yeah, that's the
temporary, that's a test for you. Yeah. But most important, right? The process is already given. The chanting process, the reading of the scriptures. So we should start by following the process.
I'll give you an example. Like in class, there might be 10 friends.
Yeah.
So it's human nature to form in groups.
Yes.
They form 2 people, they meet 3 people. I think of everybody, my friend. I should be treating equally everybody, equal to everybody. But they kind of form groups and do their own things. And
It is natural. Birds of the same feather flock together. It's natural. You cannot avoid that. You cannot avoid that. But you can develop empathy to guide them in this path with all their baggage. Every one of us has baggage, right? Right, there are so many isms here. Casteism is there. People flock around with religion. People, the smart boys will all move together. All the sports guys will move together. Moviegoers will move together. It is natural, actually. You cannot avoid it. But how do corporations run? Everybody has a different mindset. But somehow or the other, they apply those skills in the service of that company to make profit for that company. Same thing. You can apply their skills towards their own welfare. You're not even talking about getting some benefit out of them. For their own welfare, you can focus their energies. We start by calling them to this class so that they can learn something, right?
what I do is like first I try to convey like this is not what you should do. After that, if they don't listen, then maybe they are doing because of their ignorance. Because
Ignorance is there with different levels of ignorance. We're all ignorant. That's why we are here. Some people are less ignorant, some people are more ignorant. So therefore, at a lower platform. There are 300,000 types of consciousness in humans. You know that? Humans are not all equal. We cannot treat them equal. No way. That is this wrong notion of, hey, democracy, everybody is equal. You're not. How can you be equal? There's differences in physical beauty, differences in intellectual capacity, differences in ability to work hard. 300,000 types of consciousness. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam says. Not one. How can you treat everybody the same? Cannot. Cannot.
Can I give a thought to this? We cannot force anyone to attend or join because, as Krishna himself says, unless the creator himself is not anxious about us living, till then he is not giving to he is not educating us about our living or consciousness.
No, he's educating. Today he came to UNT and he just talked about it, right?
That is
Did he not
because
say that? He said this was Krishna talked today. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudata. Yeah, so he's speaking, right?
my intention is like it is every individual's own interest that makes them to come here.
That is true.
Cannot force anyone.
You cannot force, but
Yeah.
you can inspire, right?
So even Krishna cannot force any individual.
Krishna will not force. It's
Yeah.
not like he cannot, but he will not.
So when he is not forcing, who are we to force others?
You're
to
not
come to
forcing,
this class?
you're not forcing, you're helping them, right? If somebody says, oh, there is a little hole in the road, if you go to Bihar, sometimes there is holes in the road. And the fellow says, I want to walk. Arey, gir jayega, don't walk. No, I want to walk and see if I'll fall or not. What will you say? He'll hold his hand and say, no, 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 please, sir, no, no. He'll hold.
I think that is
No, that's helping. You have to help them. that's
Yeah,
all,
this is actual example, but what do I think that? Instead of calling them, what if we change ourselves and show to the world that
Yeah.
if we do this, we are like this. If you follow this, you can be like this.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, instead
That's
of
one
calling,
that's one way, definitely a good way.
See, there are different ways of doing it. What you are suggesting is one way, you are saying be the example,
yes.
let the people absorb, that's fine, that's one way of doing it. But if you have true compassion for humanity, then you will try to guide them. It's just that people have different ways of doing it, right? When a mother is seeing that a child is about to burn the hand, will she say, okay, let me burn my hand and let him see what happens and then he will learn? No, right?
But if I have a doubt, like we are all children of Krishna, right?
Yes.
Then why don't he force us like don't do
doesn't.
this?
He doesn't because you have your own karma cycle of realization. If you desire, then he will try to help you. He will still not take your karma and gets over. No. But he will be there to help you and guide you. But you have to have the desire, right? But your desire is not there because you are covered with ignorance. You are trying to help the person get over that. And that everyone, that is called daya, that is called mercy. You cannot allow people to live in ignorance.
See, suppose you are driving on the road, there are lakes around here, right? Lake Louisville. And you see somebody is drowning. You don't know how to swim, that's okay. But at least you will put a stick or call 911 or you'll do something to help that individual, right? You'll not say,
Let him learn by himself by drowning.
yeah. He cannot learn by drowning,
Like,
right?
I
Yeah.
agree to your point. My thinking is okay, fine. If we are helping in these material things, it is fine. But when we are teaching spirituality, the heart or the individual soul should be ready to grasp whatever the
Yes.
opposite
No,
person
you
is saying.
you tailor the message according to their level of understanding.
Yes.
That is difficult now.
No, it is not difficult. It's not difficult, right? For example, if you have a small kid, you'll not say x square plus bx plus c. You'll say what? Are you
Yeah.
gone crazy?
Yes.
You'll say 1
chocolate plus
1
one
plus
chocolate.
1 is equal to 2. Very good boy. Right? That level you teach him. That's it. Right? 1 apple, 2 apples. Now, how many apples are there? 2 apples. No? You don't need education.
Yeah.
So same
Again,
thing.
it boils down to the point where we should change. We should have
Yeah, we
the
should definitely do
capability
it.
of going down and coming up to our original state. If we are going down to teach someone, then our state is also down. Though we are at the upper stage. Again, we need to go back to that stage. That capability should be developed within an individual is what I am thinking.
Okay, the governor goes to Dallas Central Jail. Okay, has he become a convict?
No, he doesn't.
He
but-
doesn't, right?
But
He
as-
maintains his dignity, but at the same time says, okay, are you getting enough water? We are giving you bread. Is the bread tasty? And then once he leaves the building, he's still a governor.
So you're saying don't change yourself to go there. Just teach and come back to your original self.
Temporarily, you talk at their level,
Yeah.
but then you come back to your own level. Our level is still low. There are people much higher than us. We have to aspire, look up, and
then
help down. Help the, like if you are in a mountain, you are Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. So you are holding the hand of person who is above you so that you don't fall. At the same time, you are holding the person below you so that they can come with you. Both ways.
When you give company, you don't take their company.
yeah.
There's a
That's,
difference, which is where you have to be cognizant.
yes.
You are giving them company so that they understand, but you don't share that because then that is when the level is going down.
Yeah.
That's where you have to be careful
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Like, during Prabhupada's time, some group of people said, yeah, we'll go to the nightclub and bar and preach there. So Prabhupada said, you go, but you come back first. Forget about bringing them. If you get stuck there, it's a bigger problem. You come back. So that's how it is. Help doesn't mean that you are compromising your philosophy or your practices or your attitude. Yeah, we'll leave. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.